What's going on, y'all, man? Time to react to Georgia Tech's loss to Notre Dame. They lost 31-13. I'm going to give my honest assessment of everybody. Zach Pyron, the special teams, the running game, the missed tackles, Coach Key, and more, man. So let's go ahead and get into it. All right, first off, let's go ahead and get to the quarterback, Zach Pyron. So I thought first half, right? I thought he did a good job, I'm going to be honest with you guys, of making it easy for him. This is what I said was the key early. And this is why they were in this game and it was only 14-7. Okay? They did a good job with motions, right? Having Eric Singleton come across, dumping the ball off in the flat to Jamal Haynes. I thought he did a really good job of making it easy. Power was making some really good throws early in the game. Credit to him early on, 9 for 9, 81 yards. Did his thing. As the game progressed on, Notre Dame adjusted, started making it more difficult. Him patting and holding the football. That resulted in more turnovers. Obviously, a pick six later in the game, 36-yard pick six. Obviously, one of their best players, Xavier Watts, had an interception as well. And the touchdown was, kind of after, the game was pretty much in hand. A garbage touchdown, essentially. And obviously, he was their best rusher on the day with 45 yards. So, I hope he's doing okay. I know, obviously, he's getting some medical treatment. And I don't mean any ill will against him. I think Pyron is a cool quarterback. But you can tell today, man, they miss Haynes King. Now, I don't know if that would have made a difference in the game. They lost 31-13. But you see the difference of the team. And I thought early on in this game, actually, y'all, defense did a pretty good job, right? You get the pick from Warren Burrell, the one-handed pick that galvanized you, go down and you score 7 points. And also, this defense forced a 3-and-out on the first drive. So I thought defensively, early on in the game, they did pretty well. As it wore on, they struggled a little bit more. Now, staying on the offensive side ball before we go to the defense, this number has to be better, right? Now, you look at this, you're like, oh, but they had 38 passes, so 29 runs. The issue is Power had a lot of the runs on RPO things, or he kept it and ran it, and he had the most carries, 13. Chad Alexander and Jamal Haynes had a combined 13 carries for only about 34 yards. So that has to be better, I think. And if you're going to have a chance, Jamal Haynes, Chad Alexander, Anthony Carey, Traylon Maddox, Trey Cooley, whoever you think of, they need to have more snaps. It's just the fact. Now, I know offensive line struggled to open up different holes and things like that, but you have to have them more involved. They have to have more carries than that. I know they didn't have the best performances, but you got to get them cooking. And again, you just don't want Pyron to throw the ball that many times, respectfully. Now, we got to talk about the special teams. It was abysmal. When I say abysmal, it was abysmal. And as Coach Key says, it's not been meeting the expectations the past 3 games. It has not been good. You have to do better. That's just the bottom line of how it goes, right? Last week, punt return for a touchdown against UNC, nearly blow that game. Luckily, Jamal Haynes came up big for them and won it, right? This week, peep this, guys. They're down 14-7. You got a potential chance to get a field goal, build some momentum. Second half, you come out, potentially take the lead. The holder drops. You can say, oh, well, it was a high snap. He dropped the snap, right? And that results in a negative 16-yard loss, which obviously contributed to the running game as well, and why the numbers was low as well. It would have been probably 80 compared to the 64 they had. Then you go back, they get the best play of Abdul Jahana's career, the longest pass in Zach Pyron's career, right? 60 yards. Get into the red zone, right? Unfortunately, get a sack, yada, yada. And then you get a field goal block, okay? Now, let's go to the third quarter. Let's advance a little bit more. They went for it multiple times, right? Defense gets a stop, 4th and 8. They go for it on their own, I think it was like 35, 40-yard line. They go for it, and they pick it up. A fake punt they did. Then they went later in the game, going for a field goal, and they go for a fake field goal and get it. So I don't know if it was a lack of communication. And obviously, this is no knock against Norvell McKenzie, who's obviously their special teams coordinator, but they have to do a better job. That's not going to get it done at all. You know what I'm saying? You have to be better. And this unit has not been good. When you don't have your star quarterback and you don't have one of your biggest signal callers on the defense side of the ball, and Kyle Eford, the other complementary pieces have to step up. That did not happen today, respectfully. So special teams has to be better. It cost them today. It did. And, obviously offense had turnovers, but if your special teams could have even been, what it usually was, and it felt like it's been years since we talked about their performance against Syracuse when they had a big game. This unit has to get it together. It's just not going to cut it, those kind of performances and things like that. And it felt like at one point, Notre Dame was just toying with them, as far as when it comes to the special teams work. So that has to be better. All right, let's move on to the defense. Now, first half, and you guys see this obviously in one of my takeaways, they struggled. Defense was not good far as tackling an open space, right? It'd be 2-3 yard gains, and it was getting more. Everybody talked about this. Warren Burrell in the press conference I'll have later, Zeke Biggers as well, they all talked about this, and they struggled. Now, two takeaways I will say in a positive way, because you don't always be just super negative or overcritical. Tay Seymour had a pretty good game. 7 tackles, 5 solo, a half tackle for loss. I think the game for him is slowing down. He's faster to the ball. He's been doing his thing. Zeke Biggers also had a pretty good game. 5 tackles, 5 solos, 2 tackles for loss. He was heating up in that one. Really made a difference against a really good offensive line. And then I obviously give credit to Warren Burrell, the one-handed interception. Great performance by him. Those are my standouts in this game who I thought performed at a high level. The next thing with the defense, too, I thought early in the game, they just let Riley Leonard cook a little too much, right? Had a really high completion percentage, right? 20 of 29, 203 yards. But his legs is what did it. Now, Jadarian Price, he had a good game, right? 69 yards rushing on just 8 carries. But Riley Leonard was the one cooking early. The QB powers, the RPOs, he was cooking the Georgia Tech defense and kept him on the edge and had 2 early touchdowns in this one. Jeremiah Love also had 36 yards in the touchdown. So that was the key, too. They could not slow that down. I thought on the outside, when you look at the numbers at the receivers, you guys will see 5 catches, 51 yards was the best receiving performance. Bo Collins, right? They don't have an offense or a passing offense, I should say, that scares you. It just doesn't. So I thought the secondary, for the most part, did a pretty good job in coverage, right? Not a lot of big plays, right? It just came in tackling and wrapping up. And usually Georgia Tech has been good with that, and they've been aggressive and things like that. But they struggle a little bit with that today. But that's my thoughts on that part as well. So overall, man, a tough game, a tough performance. But like I said, special teams was not good today. Pyron had an okay game. But like I said, if you're going to beat a team like Notre Dame, you got to be on your A game. Special teams was bad. Zach Pyron had an okay game. Defense, struggled tackling. That was the key. Running game could not get going. Like, for this team to be an elite, complete offense, the running game has to be going. It just keeps the defense honest. When they get tee off on you, we've seen some of those struggles in the pass protection and not opening up running the lanes. It has to be a complete team. And Zeke Biggers and Tay Seymour continue to come on and had a big game in this one, along with Warren Burrell, with a big time interception. So tough loss. I do think, guys, and you guys call me crazy, but I do think with Haynes King and Kyle Eifert in there, I think they would have had a better performance. Now, it's not necessarily to say they will win, but I do think that they would have been way more competitive in the second half, in my humble opinion. Offense did struggle in this one, only 13 points, but they was only down a touchdown going into the break. And I think if the special teams could have been better, it would have been a different story. So that's my overall assessment, man. You struggle in this one. It doesn't affect the ACC standings, which is good for them, right? Notre Dame is an independent team. But it was a good measure to see where you at. Now you got Virginia Tech coming up, a big road game. They're coming off one of their better performances as well. It's not going to be easy. But with a win, you clinch bowl eligibility. So we'll see. Haynes King is still day-to-day. No new updates on that. But Coach Key did say that it is not going to affect or he's not going to be out for the season. So we'll see. They do need the quarterback back. He helps them out in a multitude of ways, not just throwing it, but running it as well. You could just tell he's a leader on the team. Same thing on the defensive side of the ball with Kyle Eifert, the redshirt sophomore. They need him as well. He is a very good player for them. Makes a lot of good run fits. Hits the gaps, very gap discipline. They need their guys back. So that's my overall assessment. That's my thoughts on the Georgia Tech loss to Notre Dame. Now, comment below, Tech fans. What's your thoughts, man? I will have an article coming out here pretty soon.